Welcome to Do It in Durham 2021. Now in its 9th year, Do It in Durham is an event series that takes place during Global Entrepreneurship Week. It is Durham Region's own forum to celebrate, inspire, and support entrepreneurship. Stay tuned as we bring on our presenter.
We're going to be talking about dealing with conflict. Now, I think this is a really important subject matter. We deal with it every day, don't we? Let's face it. And so we're going to have some fun. We're going to learn all about that. And so welcome to Do It in Durham Entrepreneurship 2021. We're on Monday. We have over 40 events this week.
So welcome. I'm just checking that everyone can see my slides okay. So for those who haven't had the pleasure of meeting you yet, my name is Ella Bates. I am a professor in leadership. I am faculty in leadership. I am a coach in personal leadership. I own a corporate training business. And of course, I am a member of the Durham Region 2. And this is my 5th year of being involved. And as Andrea said, there's many, many more events. So please do check those out. Plan you write down, and I do suggest that if you have any actions you want to take, put a big A next to it, put a big circle around it, because you're going to take lots and lots of notes today, but we want to see specifically what are you going to do as a result of attending here. But implement it early, practice it early, try it out, share it early. Don't wait until, oh, I did that conflict session back in December. Don't do that. Start implementing really, really early. Make a plan. What am I going to do with this information? And set your objective, which is what the question was at the start of theirs. And I apologize for those that miss it. What brings you here? So if there's anything you think I need to know that can give you extra value, I'm absolutely here to do that for you. But here's the most important part. Get involved. Do not be silent on this call. You don't have to take yourself off mute. You can simply ask or answer questions in the chat box. If you have stories, if you have examples, if you have something that worked for you, we want to share it. This is not the Ella show, okay? I'm not in it for the Ella show. All right. So if you're ready, give me a yes, I'm ready in the chat box. Sarai is ready. Sue is ready. Are you ready? Are you ready? All these people are ready. Oh, we have some exclamation marks, so they're really ready. I love it. All right, let's get started. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so my first question is, what is conflict? What even is it? We use this word a lot. Oh, that's a big conflict. I have a bit of a conflict of interest. So I've got a bit of conflicting. What does it mean? Well, we throw this word around everywhere. How would you decipher what the word conflict means? Pop it in the chat box here. Let's see, because we all have a different perspective over what things mean. Sherry Lee says it's when parties don't get what they want. Okay, so there's different decisions on either side. Okay, yeah, see where you're going there. What else? Potentially a fight. It can be, and it can be a friendly fight or also a not so friendly fight. Yeah. It's a disagreement, says Stephanie. Ooh, I love this. Ooh, okay, the chat box is on fire now. I can't even keep up. Wow. Nancy says when problems or miscommunications arises. Now, that is definitely a reason, a cause of conflict. Yeah, but it's a problem when there's a problem between two people. Yeah. Sue from the World Event Center says different opinions. Okay. Catherine says a disagreement. Different ideas. Yeah. Sherry says lack of alignment in the end goal. Oh, Sherry, I'm high-fiving you. We were a real person. I'll be walking down from the stage and giving you a high five. Right. Different perspectives. Liz says people not on the same page or unwilling or unable to come to an agreement or compromise. Yes, there's two sides to the coin and people just going at each other. Yeah. I want to go back to what Sherry Lee said here. The lack of alignment. We're going to talk about alignment and a bit of intentions. Let's look at the boring version of what conflict is. So Wikipedia, the dictionary, things like that says conflict is an expressed struggle. It's a struggle between at least two people who have incompatible goals, like Sherry said, scarce resources, or an interference from others in achieving something. Okay, so you're trying to achieve something, but there's two areas, right? It's a conflict. There's A and there's B. Can you escape conflict? Yes or no? Can we escape conflict? We can sometimes, says some. Yeah. I'm just checking. Can you just all double check that you have yourselves on mute? Whoever's on, yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Yes and no. It's interesting, isn't it, when we ask this question, because we cannot escape conflict. And there's some really beautiful things that comes out of conflict. For example, innovation. If we didn't try and break something and have disagreements, how would you form something new? Because, well, there might have been A idea and B idea. You actually create together a C idea. This is where innovation can come in. Beautiful things can happen. Beautiful things that can happen, such as, I had no idea you felt like that. I had no idea the impact of that. What a gift. Like, feedback's agree, wouldn't you agree? It's a gift. Yeah. Who loves the gift of feedback? Although sometimes it's a bit hard to take, isn't it? Yeah, the gift of feedback is a beautiful place because you can make changes. This is where change happens. And we all know where change happens, there's beauty on the other side of it, right? There's always beauty. There's always message in the mess, I think they like to say. All right, so let's get cracking here. So I want to check that I'd have, Andrea, still don't have the breakout rooms. I am going to need that in a few minutes. If we can organize that, please. All right, so we have a scenario. I'm going to read it out for you. You can read with me. I'm going to make sure that I can see it here. So you're standing in front of people making a major presentation, okay? Everyone seems super engaged, except for Dave, who's a friend and part of who you work with, right? And at the end of the table, he seems really uninterested and super bored. In fact, he puts his back to you and puts his hand over his mouth like he's actually yawning. He doesn't say anything or actually contribute anything until you finish the presentation. But then he simply says, oh, we need more detail before we get any further. And in the past, that's meant to me, well, let's move on. So people start, shuffling papers and put your presentation away and start standing up. Well, Dave obviously thinks you're really incompetent, which is super frustrating, as your ideas are actually really, really helpful. In fact, he's never liked any of your ideas. Clearly, he's just a power-hungry fool. And by the time you return to your seat, you've decided you're just not going out of the way to help Dave at all. Besides, he'd probably use it against you, quite frankly. So, seeing this scenario right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you into 3 breakout rooms in just a second here. Close this down. What I want you to think about for a moment is, what do you think that's actually going on in this particular situation? I want you to think about what assumptions are being made and what effects these assumptions can have on future behavior and future relationships as well. So I'm going to put you in a breakout room. I want you together with your team to talk about what you think is really going on, the assumptions that are made, and what effects they can have on the future of your relationship. And what I'll do is I'll put you in the breakout rooms and I'm going to put the situation in there again so you can have a quick read of them. So bear with me a second. I'm going to assign you automatically. When you see the pop-up inviting you to the room, go on in. And while you guys are going in here, I'm just going to find the situation. I'm going to copy it into the chat box so you can all have a read of it. Okay, broadcasting. Here we go. Beautiful. If you haven't joined the room, you will have got your invitation. Stephanie, Justin, join the rooms. Okay, I'm just going to pull up. Beautiful. Thanks, Andrea. Justin, you want to join the room? Justin and Kim, join your rooms. And I'm going to pull up the questions. I'm going to put them in the chat box there for everybody in the breakout rooms. Here are your questions. You have 7 minutes.
Everybody's gone.
Okay. Okay, I've sent them all. Wow. Andrea, oh my God.
That. Yeah, photographic. So I was just putting in the chat, like, we've got to, like, because we have it so it's open that people can share, but I changed that so it's only co-hosts can share now. So I'm just checking everybody in, but that is disgusting. I can't believe that people even bother with this.
That's
stuff.
awful.
Like,
That's awful.
I don't get it. I don't get the point of it. So yeah, and so Teresa's like freaking out on the other end. I'm like, we went out, we went back in, and I'm monitoring the crap out.
Yeah. So here's how you stop that from happening. Very simply, you have to do all your registration through Zoom. And Zoom only lets the people in that have a personalized link. And if this happens or anything inappropriate, you can actually distinguish who's doing it. But when you do it this way, where it's an open link and anyone can click it, yeah, it's open to this abuse. Yeah.
I'm going to talk to it. So we had, because a lot of people have our Zoom link, right? A generic link. So people can just come in anytime, right? And so that's how we set it up before COVID, right? We just had, and in fact, at first we only had Teresa, just had her. So if she was on a meeting, nobody else could have a meeting. We all have an own account now. But yeah, you could just pop in. And so we were getting basically Zoom bombed all the time. And then last year we did it all differently, but I've never had that before.
No, that was bad. That was particularly embarrassing. Oh, there you go. All right, I'm going to go pop into each one of the rooms and just check.
This is like when you have this problem again. We've learned the solution.
I know. I went really red. I was like, oh my god, I've never seen that before. I think that was the 2 British people that were in. That's really disappointing that happened. But okay, I'm going to pop in and out of the breakout rooms and check they're okay. Okay, I'll be back. Hi, room 1. Just checking in that you're okay. Welcome back. Everyone's going to get thrown out in about 30 seconds. So they're going to be like, oh no, they're having such good conversations and I'm throwing you out of the rooms. Okay, let's pull up my questions here. How was that? Did you have lots of different perspectives and different lenses to look through by going into the groups? How was that from a sharing perspective? Was it interesting? Was everybody on the same page? Tell me in the chat box. And the reason why I ask this question is so many times do we look at a case study or look at a scenario, look at something on social media, hear something, but everybody looks at it through a different lens. Yeah, beautiful. Sue's saying different viewpoints have been learned. We came out at it from different perspectives. Isn't that interesting? Okay, so let's do this. We have 3 groups. Let's take group 1. Tell me, group 1, who is your spokesperson and what did you guys think was going on in this situation? You can take yourself off mute here.
Hi, that was me.
Hi, Ruth.
Hi. So there were a few different viewpoints about what was going on in the situation. We had first not realized that they were friends in this situation. So it was kind of discovering whether or not they were belittling you as a coworker or how that was going on. And then another viewpoint that was brought up was, is this a female making the presentation? But then we realized that it was us. So as mostly females in the group chat, we realized that it would have been taken on as a kind of a personal approach, and you would have taken it personally and gotten offended by the situation because, well, you're a female speaking to a man, and that could have been taken as sexist.
So there was a little bit of an assumption made there too. So I'm going to put that in the assumption. Don't take number 2. Let's stay on number 1. But you're right. I'm going to write that down because that's important. So right. So tell me, overarching, generalize, what did you think was actually going on? If you were to retell this story, what really happened?
Just from my point of view, I would think that the friend was possibly being misconstrued, that maybe he was having a bad day, that he was maybe having a fight with his wife or partner or whatever, and came to work, was off his game, and maybe was a bit cold and harsh and rude to that individual. So
you think just brought a bit of personal life into the workspace?
Possibly.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. All right. Hold on to that. Thank you. Thank you, group 1. Group number 2, give me a list of the different kind of assumptions you think has been made in this particular scenario. So we've got one of them already there. It could be a sexism thing, could be male versus female. What other assumptions were made? Group 2, who's your spokesperson?
I don't think we assigned one, but I'll just throw one out there.
Thanks, Nancy.
I said that maybe Dave was jealous of the speaker because they did a good presentation, and so he was just deliberately trying to throw them off their game and be disrespectful.
Yeah, jealous, sexist. Any other assumptions from the other groups? What other assumptions were made, do you think? How about them being just a difficult person? At the end of the scenario, they're talking about, let me see the exact words here. Let me go back one. Says, clearly Dave is just a power hungry fool. Is he? Is that an assumption that we're making here? It's a power struggle. So there's a power struggle going on. Yeah. Do you who thinks that Dave is a power hungry fool? Give me a yes in the chat box. If you're like, yeah, that wasn't cool, and that's definitely a power struggle. Yeah, there's a few people that think that yes. Okay, and who's like, no, I'm giving Dave benefit of the doubt. He's probably really cool. I heard some laughs and some absolute no's.
If I can add another point of view, there's sometimes personalities that don't necessarily work together. There's different perspective. Maybe Dave is a kind of person who learns by knowing all the facts, and he learns by presented with graphs, information, facts, data, all that. And what the presenter presented was more like, here's what I think we should do. And I feel like this is a very good opportunity. And I feel and all that. So not that having intuition and feelings and all that cool stuff is bad, but some people approach decision making and data in a very different way, and that can create conflict in a lot of time. And I can say from personal experience, between me and some coworkers, or even between me and my partner, sometimes the same event happens, but we look at it from a different point of view, and one would look at it one way and one would look at it the other way. So Dave may not necessarily be a bad person. He just felt that presentation is a whole lot of smoke. It doesn't mean anything. So there could be that as well. So
yeah, there's a lot of could be's, isn't there, Ahmed? And I think you brought up some really great points there. And I think I want to just capitalize on something that you said there, Ahmed, is the fact that maybe he's not a bad person. In conflict, and this is going to be really hard to drink in. I hope you're ready for this. You could hate me, and if you hate me, feel free to log off. I told you it'd be funny and entertaining. In conflict, very simply, everybody has positive intention. Everybody. Nobody has a negative intention. Now, you're probably thinking, wait a minute, Ella. You're probably all sat back now like, hang on a minute. Had you been in this situation? I'm telling you now, nobody has a bad intention. Maybe it's a bad intention towards someone else, but they're trying to be egocentric. Maybe they're trying to be selfish and give themselves something. They're hoping to win. That's a positive intention, right? No one is being actively malicious. They're trying to bring something good in. And there's a great phrase, and it's something like this. It says you need to be hard on the problem and soft on the person. Anyone heard that before? Be hard on the problem and soft on the person. Because if you look through the chat box and some of the conversations, and I've been teaching this scenario now since 2011, so quite a few years now, always we get very egocentric, and we're like, yeah, he's just a power hungry fool. I wouldn't give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he's just this, and I think maybe he's got a different personality to me, and and we go through this with a negative intent. And I'm going to tell you why. Your brain is not designed to keep you happy. Number one, it's not. It's designed to keep you safe. When we are triggered, meaning by something doesn't feel good and it feels unsafe, we get very emotional. And from a brain perspective, what happens is you've got like a guard dog behind your ear. Actually, it's on this side. It's called the amygdala. Don't worry, there's going to be no test. It's called the amygdala. It's like a smoke alarm. It's constantly looking for danger. Am I safe? Am I in danger? Even when you're asleep, which is why sometimes when you're daydreaming and you're driving and you're like, you get somewhere and you have no idea how you got there. Has anyone experienced that by show of hands? Have you got somewhere and thought, how did I get here? It's because your brain is still working, your reticular activating system, and your amygdala is looking to see if there's any danger. So when you are, your brain gets flooded with something called cortisol. And this bit here at the front, it's called the neocortex, goes numb. This is where you make good decisions, and it gets numbed. A chemical floods it in and goes, wait a minute, Dave's just a power hungry fool. I am not going to help Dave anymore. And we make all these big assumptions, right? We take ourselves out of a rational time because emotions are there to save us. So I'll go a bit deeper into that, Ahmed, because I think that's a really good point. There's different personalities, and there's also this flood of emotions that come. Because who's ever done a presentation you've thought, this is amazing, and then someone digs it and you think, oh my God, I just worked really hard on that. I can't believe and then that feeling of shame comes in, and oh no, I just shouldn't have. Oh no, that's it. I'm never doing any presentations, right? It's really, really hard. Anyone experienced something like this where someone's been so attacking at what you've done, you've thought, I'm never doing that again? And whether that was a child and you colored something and someone said, oh, that's a totally rubbish drawing that you did, right through to a boss saying, well, it's okay. And you worked all night on it and it's really amazing. Or a client saying, well, it's not quite what I'm looking for. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, we had hours of conversation. Right? It doesn't feel good. This is where emotions come in. So lots of assumptions are made here. There's a couple of other assumptions too. We've now assumed that he's an enemy. So now Dave is a power-hungry fool. He's an enemy. And we're not going to help Dave. That's it, period. We're just not going to help him. Lots of assumptions are making. So we know there's lots of emotions involved. Let me go to the third question. I'll come away from this. What effects, so I'll ask this to group number 3, who's your spokesperson there. What effects can these assumptions now have on your future relationship, whether it's a client, an employee, a boss? What's going to happen now in that relationship as a result of this particular scenario? Who was the spokesperson for group number 3?
Well, we actually didn't quite talk about that, but what I would say is you just end up in childlike behaviors at work. That's all that happens. Keep avoiding each other. There's no communication. I mean, we talked about, I don't know if the group agreed with me, but we talked about professional emotional intelligence at workplace, and both sides of that party didn't exhibit any of that, and they were judgmental and took things personally. But some of us have been working for a long time, and we know that it's not about the person, but it's about the situation. So
right.
So to me, it really depends on what level of maturity or what level of professionalism you're working with at the office. When I was younger in research, a bunch of young 20-somethings were working together, and this sort of situation was everywhere, nonstop. As I got older, that situation changed because people were more mature and less judgmental. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but so I think it really brings up a really childish sort of environment.
I think you're right, Sherry.
Very, very unproductive.
And I think you brought up a good point. It is childlike, and it's called an ego.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter whether you're 5 years old or 50 years old, you go into ego very, very quickly if emotions come into it. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
How many of us have done something and thought, oh, I did not behave the best version of me today? Hands up, come on, admit it. I'm going to put both hands up. Because while I'm sat here teaching conflict, it doesn't mean that I'm perfect. I am in some ways, but I'm not perfect when it comes to conflict. And you're right, Sherry, it's that ego. And then we start getting really like push and pull, and right, they're winning and it's not fair. And right, we act in ways that's just not the best version of us. And this is because of this emotional flow coming in. But what's going to happen, the effect is, now you're not going to work with Dave. If Dave was a client, you just won't want to work with him anymore. You'll think, oh, I'm not working. Oh, he's really difficult, and he's just going to poo-poo my ideas, and I just don't want to work with people like that. Maybe you lose out on money. Maybe you lose out on an opportunity. Maybe Dave was going to recommend you to 500 people you don't know. But here's what I want to tell you about this scenario. This is a real scenario. This happened in 2007 when I started teaching it. This really, really happened. It happened to one of my colleagues. Dave has a brand new baby, and that baby has colic, and Dave didn't get a lot of sleep. He didn't get a lot of sleep at all. I think Reese, you mentioned it earlier. You gave him the benefit of the doubt. He didn't get a lot of sleep at all, and he was really grumpy. And Ahmed, you had it spot on there. Dave is a C-type person. He is a task-orientated person. You want to know what I mean by a C person? If anyone's looked at DISC, I think there might be some things actually in the sessions, Andrea, over this week about DISC and personality profiling. In fact, if anybody wants it, I'll send some information about DISC, but they're a high C, meaning that they're task orientated. I've got time for fluff. Tell me what I need to know. I want to make a decision, right? They are focused on getting the right information and getting out of the presentation. And it looks like they're not being friendly, but his positive intent is, like Ahmed said, actually, I don't have enough information to make a decision. But someone else mentioned, and I'm sorry, the chat box went so fast I didn't quite catch it, what that person needs to do. Dave needs to be specific. Here's what I need in order to make this. That presentation was great. And had I had this information, prices, demographics, A, B, and C, I could have made a better decision. Is that something you can send to us afterwards, right? It's again, that push-pull. But when you're tired, do you make good decisions? Yes or no? Who's heard of HALT? I'm going to put it here into the chat box. HALT. Hungry. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Hungry. I'm going to put it here. Angry, lonely, and tired. I learned this when my children were babies, and they would scream. If everyone's been around a young child, you're screaming, you're like, I don't even know what's wrong with you. Like, this is really frustrating. And then someone said, oh, you need to look at HALT because this helps you. Are they hungry? Are they angry about something? Are they feeling a bit lonely and they need someone around? Or are they just tired? So I'd be like, and I would go through like a checkbox. Are they hungry? Well, they fed about 30 seconds ago. No. Are they okay? Right. So you know what I'm talking about. We've got a new mommy. Congratulations. That's awesome. Right? Are they hungry? Are they angry? Are they lonely? Tired? This is for this is just not a baby thing. When I'm hungry, when I'm angry, if I'm lonely, and if I'm tired, I make some really poor decisions, which is why sleep hygiene is really important. How much sleep you get is going to affect your relationships and affect conflict. If you are feeling isolated and lonely, it is an awful feeling. It will make you very, very emotional. If you are angry, you're going to make them over an emotion. If you are hungry, you're going to be blinded by the fact that you're starving. You don't have the energy to give to this conflict, so you try and shut it down. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. So I think Reese mentioned it earlier. What we have to look at is, what can we control? What can we influence? Now, can we control other people? Yes or no? Can you say, that behavior is terrible, and immediately, boom, they stop the behavior like magic? Yes or no? I'm getting some private messages. Yeah, no, you can't, right? What you can do is influence someone's behavior, and that is what we're going to look at today. Oh, we already did the breakout. Look at me go. Right, I want to introduce you to something. Now, it's a little bit psychology based, so bear with me. I'm going to simplify it for you in just a second. But it's called the Ladder of Inference. You may or may not have heard about this before. Andrea, just want to check. Are you recording this? Yeah, we are recording. Okay, beautiful. The Ladder of Inference. This is how quickly we can make decisions based on people. So we decided Dave looked like he was yawning. Of course, he was tired. He turned his back because he was yawning. He didn't want to embarrass you. He didn't want to look like he was bored, right? He actually loved your information. What happens is our brains actually go through a sequence of events, and it's really quite beautiful. Feel free to take a screenshot of this because it's really awesome. When I first learned this, I'm like, oh my gosh, that explains everything. Okay, so we take observable data, what we see in front of us, and you have to imagine we're taking in like equivalent to maybe 100 gigabytes every second. If you were to look right in front of you now, you can probably see 1,000 objects, right? But seeing things. What did I observe? I saw Dave look like he's yawning. I saw that he moved his arm. I heard that he said this. Okay, so we hear and we see certain things. Okay, and then we go, ooh, we go up the ladder. I then select from that what I want to see based on my own belief system, based on my own judgment. How many of you, by show of hands, or give me a yes in the chat box, have heard of selective hearing? Yeah, you're all like, yep, I may have done it myself in the past. We select what we want to. It's like if you see a picture or art. If anyone's into anything art and you see something, so you might see this hummingbird behind me is a pure example, right? And some of you will have seen the bird. Some of you have seen the flowers and gone, wow, that's beautiful. Some of you would have seen the colors. Some of you have seen, not even noticed it at all. Some of you have noticed that there's red stripes and gone, oh, is that like angry? Is there some death in that? I thought it was a happy picture. And you've all looked at it through different lenses because our ladder is different, right? We choose to see what we want to see. So, for example, I see my younger daughter punch my younger son in the arm and I go, oh, she's been aggressive. Well, hang on a minute. What I didn't see or didn't choose to see or I didn't hear was A, B, and C, right? We take from it what we want to. We have selection, Okay, so we have selective hearing. So then we go up the ladder and then I put meaning to it. I go, well, that means, so let's take this art. So let's say every time I see a hummingbird, I assume change. And if I see blue, I think trust. So I go, okay, so when I see blue, I trust something. That's the data I've chosen to take out the hummingbird. Pop it in the chat box here. What did you all think when you first saw the hummingbird? I want to show you just how many lenses. Look at that hummingbird. What do you take out of that piece of art? Some of us are arty people. Some people are not. Some people are like, I don't know, it's just a bird. Tell me in the chat box here, what do you see in this picture? What really struck out to you? Sherry thought, oh, it's a hummingbird. How nice. Yeah, you saw a piece of art. You thought it was stained glass. Oh, do you? That's awesome, Catherine. Yeah, you saw the colors, Nancy. Yeah. Yeah, who saw the red? Who didn't see the red? And then when I pointed out the red, went, oh yeah, that's a bit weird. It's like a splatter of red in the background. How interesting. In fact, you know what? I'm going to stop the share so you can see a bit closer. Can you see any better now? Maybe not. Maybe not. But we all saw different things. We see different lenses. Okay, so I want you to, like Armin said, we see a different lens. So now we've added a meaning to it. Okay, and then we make assumptions. So for example, when people yawn, they must be bored. Hang on a minute, they could be tired too, right? But the meaning, right? The meaning, we make the assumptions, then you draw your conclusions, then you adopt a belief in the world, and then you take an action belief. Now, let's say you made the assumption that Dave's power hungry, right? Total jerk, power hungry, hate him. Next time you see Dave, how quickly will you go from seeing Dave to number 7? How fast will you go up that ladder, do you think? Oh, that's interesting, Nicole. You didn't even see the art. How fast do you think you'll go up the ladder? Yeah, Leah, really fast. I see Dave. I already have a meaning. Dave, power hungry jerk, don't like him. Not doing anything for him. Hate that client. Yeah, right. Poor Dave just had a bad night's sleep and needs more information, like Armin said. What's going? Lightning speed. You're right, Sherry. We do it all the time. This is where stereotypes come from. I'll give you an example. Somebody put something on Facebook. 8 out of 10 women have had car accidents. People go, wow, that's women for you. Oh, hang on a minute. Women are bad drivers. I'm going to assume that all women are bad drivers. My conclusion is I don't want to get in a car with a woman. Here's my belief system. Women shouldn't drive. I'm now going to take actions when my mum says, hey, do you want me to drive you there? I'm going to say, oh, no, thank you. I'll drive us instead. Right? We choose to take out of it what we want. This is how stereotypes are created. This is how conflict comes in. Right? You see a meme, we all see it from a different lens, like the piece of art behind us. And then the next time someone invites you, we just go straight to 7. Someone's invited me to drive, to get in a car. They're a woman. I don't believe they should drive. Number 7. We do the same thing with men, right? Oh, you look really nice in that dress. Well, hang on a minute. What does he want? Why did he say that? Well, the last time he said it, it's because he wanted me to go to the Keg instead of my favorite Italian restaurant. So you know what? I'm just not going to react to that. So every time now he says, oh, you look nice in that dress, I'm going to ignore him, right? These are how things happen because of our belief systems. It's crazy. We go really fast in this ladder of inference. So we have to look at, have you seen the whole picture? And I'm so glad that you said that, Reese. Have we seen the whole picture? Do we know why he's tired? Did he have a fight with his wife? You have to look at other sides of this coin, though. Was that okay that he took it out on you in your presentation? Maybe not. Should he have said, look, just so you know, I've not had a lot of sleep, so I'm just going to stay out this presentation? Would have been different. This is where good communication builds relationships. Good communication. Does anyone know who Brené Brown is? Give me a yes in the chat box if you know who Brené Brown is. Or give me a no if you're like, no idea, don't know who that person is at all. Ella, give me a no in the chat box. Some of you saying no. I'm going to send you a Brené Brown presentation. If you have Netflix, oh, don't apologize. I'm really happy to introduce you to this woman. She's a social scientist and she specializes in courage and vulnerability and shame. She calls herself a shame scientist a lot of the time. And she came up with this really great phrase. And when so let's take the Dave scenario. So Dave did this and I'm like, wow, Dave did that. It's a power hungry jerk. I would go up to Dave and say, hey, Dave, the story I'm telling myself right now is you're jealous of my presentation and I worked really hard on this and this is my story. This is what I'm telling myself. Is it true? And Dave might go, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, friend. I've just not had enough sleep. I'm sorry. I didn't use my emotional intelligence, like you said, Sherry. I really apologize. What I meant was we need more data. Let's get a good email together and send it to the client. Oh, okay. But instead, I'm like this on the ladder. Dave asked me to do something. Sorry, I'm busy. Hey, can you give me some help on this? Sorry, can't do that, right? We go on this ladder. You say to the other person, here's the story I'm telling myself right now. I'm hearing that you don't necessarily want this service. Is my story true? Oh, no. All it is A, B, and C. Okay, good. Or yes, actually, I don't want your service. Okay, good. Maybe we should end the relationship. Or no, oh my gosh, I love it. I just have a really deadpan face when I'm thinking about things. Okay, good. I just wanted to check that you do like the proposal I put in front of you, right? You want to check in with people. What is the story? Here's the story I'm telling myself. Is it true? And it's a beautiful way, because likely you would have walked away from this presentation and said, Dave, hate Dave. I've gone home and gone, Dave's horrible, really mean. And I worked really hard on that presentation. Like Sherry said, we get really childlike, right? But I saw it for myself. He was yawning, he was rude. And then all of a sudden, Jenny then tells someone else, oh, Dave was really rude to Ella in the present. Oh, I've heard that. Don't invite Dave to your presentation. Poor Dave's just had a bad night's sleep. And all of a sudden, everybody hates Dave. Right? This is how conflict happens in groups. It's mob mentality, right? They say there's 3 truths. There's your truth, their truth, and actually what happened, right? And then if you do a real triangle, the triangle of conflict, which we won't go in through to get today, there's always a third party going, oh yeah, Dave shouldn't have done that. And you're like, yeah. And that's reinforcing that belief that they shouldn't have done that. It doesn't make you feel good. It's interesting, isn't it? Let me show you another example of this. I walk into a meeting half an hour late. I don't even say why. I just saunter on in. Bing! I come up here in the virtual meeting, right? You observe it. And you go, I'm pretty sure that Ella just turned up late on purpose because she didn't apologize or anything. Then your conclusion is Ella always arrives late. Then it is, well, I can't count Ella. I'll put he. She is unreliable, right? We make an assumption. This is this ladder. We go really quickly. So next time you want to invite Ella somewhere, maybe you do it earlier, maybe you do it later. Make all these assumptions instead of saying, hey, Ella, you were late to the meeting. Here's the story I'm telling myself, is that you deliberately came in late. Is that the truth, or did you have something pressing? Oh my gosh, I didn't want to say anything or interrupt the presentation. My car broke down. Okay, great. Instead, I've walked away and gone, that Ella is so unreliable. I'm not going to count on Ella to help with any of my social media from now on. My social media person is totally fired, right? It's conflict because we don't try and find out what's going on. We go through this ladder. This is the ego that Sherry was talking about. So thank you for bringing that up. Yes, Catherine, you're right. Catherine's just made a really great point here. Please deal with that all the time. Her truth, his truth, and then the real truth. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because there's different lenses to look through at the time. I'm going to offer you some different lenses today, which is great. Tell me, have you learned something new so far? Give me a yes in the chat box. Are you learning something new, or are you just having a good time? Where are we at? Let me do a check-in. Let me do a temperature check. Give me a yes if you've learned something new. If you think it's horribly boring, say no. Boring as anything, Ella. Stop talking. It's horrible. Halt was new for you. Oh, that's good. Yeah, good. Love the ladder. It's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Good. Hooray. Hooray. It's interesting, isn't it? Psychological stuff. Studying people is the most fascinating thing in the world. Sue, you've known me for a long time. You know I get absolutely fascinated. Are we taking notes? If you're not, here's your reminder. Get a piece of paper. I'm taking notes as you're talking, right? Get a piece of paper. Write down if you think, oh, that's interesting, or that applies to me, or I'm going to use that with my client, or with my employees, or when I hire someone here, I'm going to do this. Because you're going to need to remember this information, and more importantly, apply it later on down the line. Okay, good. Let's move on here. Let me do a time check. Oh, we're doing great. All right. Question for you. What do you think is the biggest annoyance while driving on the road of other people? What causes the most conflict, the most fists in the air at people, the blah, 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 I can't believe you did that? What do you think causes the biggest annoyance? Tell me here in the chat box. Is it people swerving in front of you? Oh, it is. It's people cutting you off. 2 of you. Yeah, getting cut off. Going too slow. Yeah. Don't signal, says Ahmed. Not following the rules of the road. Yeah. People who dangerously drive. Oh, people go too fast. Yeah. Don't let you in. Oh my goodness. If you live in the Durham region, you're watching this, the 401 is a horrible example of that, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, no signal, says Leah. Yeah. Yeah. Stop and go and no signals. So you've no idea what they're doing at any one time, right? At the same time, I'm sure I've done other things. Oh, you're being so nice now. Not saying thank you after you let them in. Andrea, I think that's a British thing. We kind of wave when people do that. Here, people don't necessarily. Yeah, they just can't wait. It's true. Let me show you what it is. It's not using the signals. Number one, most annoying thing. It's not using the signals. It's like when you're pulling out and someone's driving, you're like, oh, it's okay, they're going, and then they stop, and then they turn, you're like, oh, I could have gone. What? It's other people inconveniencing, isn't it? I want to show you a couple of things. Oh, Leah says people can't wait to turn and honk. Ooh, I don't like that one either, Leah. You're right. Okay. So here's the indicator. So this insurance company, and I apologize if I can find the article, I'm going to find it for you. They did this actual study to figure out why people didn't use their indicators. So tell me in the chat box, why do you think, oh, your parents taught you to wave thank you and weren't British? All right, Catherine, maybe it's not a British thing. Tell me in the chat box here, what excuses do you think people used for not using their indicators on their car? Think of the ladder of inference now. We need to start thinking of this. We're making all these assumptions. What do you think the reasons are? They forgot. Okay, fair. They turn at the last minute. Maybe they're like, oh, quick, here's my turning. Yeah, in a hurry, right, Leah? Laziness, quite possibly. Yeah, Nancy thinks it's just a bit of laziness. Just couldn't be bothered. Yeah, don't care. Do you see how much emotion's in this, people? How many of you are mad as you're even writing this? Oh, yeah, I hate it when people do this, right? You've already got conflict. We've not even met someone that's not indicated. Maybe they were tired, came from a long shift. Yeah. The other drivers should have known. The assumptions. It's so true. You didn't think they needed it because no one was around. Oh, Sherry Lee, I'm bad for doing that too. I think there's no other cars around, so I don't have to. I'm bad for doing that. I admit it. I've done that. Let me show you the reasons. 42% of them said that they didn't have the time. What do we mention it? It's such a hurry. They felt they just didn't have the time to indicate. Like, what is it? You know? Some cars it's a button, right? 17% are just forgetful. They just forget they have to indicate. You have to remember, not everybody drives, and I think of COVID too, not everyone's been in a car in the last 2 years, right? 12% said it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. 23% said they were just too lazy. Just couldn't be bothered. Yeah. 8% said, well, other people don't do it. Who's heard that phrase? Well, no one else cleans out the recycling, so why should I, right? Nobody else does this kind of bookkeeping. Why should I? Right? And then 7%, this is my particular favorite, said that it adds a bit of excitement. Andrew's waving. Is that you? Do you get excited when you don't? Adds excitement. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it, that people would say these things out loud. But here's the main reason why this is particularly annoying, that people don't use their indicators, is because you do not know their intention. When we do not know somebody's intention behind their behavior, we make up stories. Like I said, some of you were, I know it, I could see you typing, you're like, yeah, I hate when people are lazy. You're angry already. No one's even, you're not even in the car. You're angry. We get emotional, our brains go, danger, we're not safe. Somebody is not indicating right now. Shake your fist at them, say some choice words, whatever it is, right? We get emotional. When we're emotional, we don't react particularly well. Now, these people could have been emotional, too lazy, couldn't be bothered, wasn't worth it, all these terrible reasons for not indicating. Just so you know, if you don't indicate, please indicate. I like it when people indicate. If we know the intention behind somebody, behind their behavior, then we know. Now, if you were to find out the car in front of them, and someone mentioned it before, I'm sorry, again, the chat box went pretty fast. If you found out, if you were like, whoa, why did they do that? And then you saw that they opened up the car and all of a sudden there's a pregnant woman, she's like, oh my God, she's in labor. You're gonna be like, oh, don't worry about it, right? But before that, you're like, you know, saying some words at them. I'm not going to repeat what I potentially would say to someone who did that. But then if you saw that they're on their way to the hospital, Maybe someone's having a heart attack and they're just not thinking about it, right? We're not looking at context. We just go, I'm angry. I'm going to activate angry mode. Shake fists, right? We go through this ladder. When people don't indicate, they're just lazy. When people don't indicate, they're this. We go through this because we don't know the intentions. I'm telling you, there's an easy way of fixing this. What do you think it is? What is the easy way that I'm going to introduce you? And you're going to go, oh, easy. Easy. Nicole's just, I have to share for those people watching the recording. My father believes if no one's around, a red light is optional. I'm not sure if that's the beginning of dementia. It's interesting, the perspectives of driving, right? Bad habits. What is the easy fix of this? If a lot of conflict is due to not knowing people's intentions, what's the easy fix? Nancy says, assume they're not being malicious. Nancy, you have to assume that. You have to assume that. If you want to get spiritual about it, we are all one. We have to believe that everybody has a positive intent. And we need to think, what's the positive intention? Maybe they're in a hurry because they need the bathroom. How many of you have been driving and you're like, oh my God, hurry up, I really need to pee. I need to tinkle, hurry up, and you're just driving like crazy, right? Don't make the assumptions. Don't let it bother you. Yeah. Did it cause an accident? No. Will this matter tomorrow? No. Now, this is very easy for us to say. When we feel emotional and angry, it's really easy, isn't it, to say, yeah. It's as simple as this. Find out their intentions. Now, in a car, it's hard. You're not going to stop the car and go, excuse me, what was your intention on not indicating right now? But in face-to-face or over the phone or over video, you can. Here's a story I'm telling myself. You were too lazy to indicate. Oh, no, sorry. I'm just really tired and distracted. I had a bad night last night. I'm having nightmares. I ate too much cheese before bed. Whatever it is. And you go, oh, okay. Conflict's ended. Instead of going, that Dave, he did this and blah, blah, blah. And as days go by, this Dave's now like a monster. Whoa, Dave, everyone hates Dave, right? Alma says, I can't even ask my wife why she didn't signal. But here's an interesting one, Ahmed. I think you're going to like this, Ahmed. And I'm really sorry, I didn't quite catch who just had the baby. And again, congratulations. But if you just tell me there in the chat box, you can send me privately too. You can't ask a baby to. They're not going to tell you. They're going to say, well, mother, it's because my diaper is dirty. They're not going to tell you, right? There's a way of finding out. And here is the trick that I'm going to teach you today. I'm going to introduce you to something called the lens of understanding. Now, I want to tell you a little bit of backstory behind this. This book is amazing. It's amazing. If you want some details afterwards, Andrea, I think is going to send me your email address. I'm going to send you a link to this book. And you'll notice that it's got a blue dot on it. And I ended up buying it from the library because I love it so much. Oh my gosh, I love this book so much. It was 2010. Story time coming, can you tell? 2010. And my sister-in-law did something that I didn't like. I'm not going to tell you the full story. She did something that I really didn't like. And I was telling myself this story and I was angry. I was feeling a bit raged. I went from like being a bit upset to like rageful. And over days, I'm like, oh my God. And then I walked into the library and it was like this beam of lights like cast down on this book. And it said, dealing with people you can't stand. I went, I need that book. I need it. I'm gonna get that book, right? So I picked up the book, and it show you, it's Oshawa Library. I didn't steal it. You're watching from Oshawa Library. It didn't steal it. I bought it from when you had your book sale. Anyway, but love it so much. Yeah, Oshawa Library, it's true. And I read it, and then I read it again, and then I read it again. And I'm like, I can apply this in so many places in my life because the chances are you can't stand that person, or you get emotional about it. Whether it's a client, whether it's a passing client, someone asking for a proposal, a long-standing client, an employee, an employer, a peer, somebody in the grocery store, someone whilst driving, you can figure out conflict for everyone with this book. It is called Dealing with People You Can't Stand. I'm going to put it here in the chat box. Dealing with People You Can't Stand by Dr. Rick Brinkman. Brilliant. And I'm going to introduce you to the high level of his book. If you're ready, say, Ella, I'm ready. I need to know these tools. Send me to greatness. Sue's ready. Who else is ready? Have a little bit of water. Been talking all day. It's only Sue is ready. Oh, Reese is ready. Anyone else? Are you ready? I'm not going to start until you're ready. Tell me you're ready in the chat box. Say, Ella, I'm ready. Tell me the wisdom from this wonderful book that has the best title ever. Nancy says she's good to go. Ahmed is ready. There's some exclamation marks. People must be ready. Okay, good. Then I'm ready to teach it to you. So it's going to look complicated, but it's really, really not. Dr. Brinkman is a naturopath. If you don't know what a naturopath is, it's a holistic style of doctor. So he comes at it from a medical point of view with the qualifications, but also from a holistic and a spiritual point of view. Okay, so there's two lenses here to look at. He says that there's 4 reasons, 4 intentions for anything that we do. We want to do things right. We want to do things and get them done. We want to get along with other people, and we want to get appreciated. That's it. That's the basis of the book. There's only ever 4 intentions. So if you think to yourself, there's an intention here for you today. You turning up today, which one was it? Was it to get along with other people and harmonize and network? Was it to get appreciated because you want to share some stuff? You know some things about conflict? Are you like, I just want to attend them all and get them over and done with, so I've got some cool tools? Or are you like, oh, I want to really go deep into that and I want to understand it? Which one were you today? Were you getting it right, getting it done, getting along, or getting appreciated? Tell me in the chat box here. Which one are you? You were getting it right. So you want the finer details, Nancy? Yeah. We like, this is a networking opportunity. I'm going to meet some cool people who do cool stuff and sharing some ideas. Yeah, Sherry, you were like getting it done. More getting it right. Yeah. Do you see how the intention? Yeah. For you, Nicole, you're getting it right too. Okay, good, because I'm going to go deep with you as well. Getting it done right. Liz is a bit of both. Interesting, that, isn't it? Think back to the person that doesn't indicate. They want to get it done. They're in a hurry. They want to get there, right? They want to get appreciated for being fast in the Uber, right? All these 4 intentions. I want you to think for just a second. I'm going to pull my videos up so I can see you thinking. This is where the videos are important. Like Andrea said, I want to see those thinking faces right now. I want you to think of a time, the last time you had a conflict with someone, and maybe it was quickly in a grocery store, maybe someone stole the banana that you wanted, maybe it was with your partner, maybe it was with your dog or one of your kids, whatever conflicts that you had. I want you to think about your last conflict. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you're thinking about your last conflict. Don't re-trigger to it. Don't re-traumatize yourself. Yep. If you want to see the thumbs up, if you click on more and click reactions, there's some buttons here. I'm going to put a thumbs up on mine. More and reactions. You can put some thumbs up. Let's see some thumbs up. Okay, good. Catherine found it. Beautiful. I found it. Wonderful. Reactions are good, right? You don't have to speak. All right. So you're thinking about your last conflict. I want you to think, what was their intention? Even though you might not have liked what happened. Maybe you didn't win. Maybe you did win. Maybe it's still going on. I hope it is not. What was their intention? Were they trying to get things right? Were they just trying to get down to the bottom of something? Are they control freak, for example? Were they very task focused? Were they just trying to get something over and done with? Like, whatever, I don't care. Are they just trying to get things done? Were they trying to get along with you? Were they like, oh, okay, I'll just do that? And maybe you had a conflict because they just couldn't decide. And they said, wherever you want to go to eat, dear. And you're like, oh, no, just decide, like make a decision. Or were they trying to get appreciated? Were they looking for validation from you? Were they hoping that you would go, oh, thank you for bringing me this tea, but you didn't say thank you because you were busy on a call, right? And you didn't go, oh, you're the best person in the entire world. Oh, you know, you brought me a tea. You just didn't say something and now there's a conflict, right? Tell me in the chat box. Don't tell me the scenario unless you want to share. Can you figure it out? What was their intention? What were they trying to do in that conflict that you were thinking about in that moment? Write in the chat box. They were looking for support. So they're looking to get it right for you, Catherine. Yeah. Yeah, they were looking for the resources that you have essentially to give them. Yeah. For you, Nancy, it was getting along. They were looking to, yeah, appease. Sometimes known as passive aggressive, but yeah. Yeah. They were looking for support from you too. And sometimes that support is they want to give support. So it's like getting appreciated, or they're looking to get along with you. They want to have a harmonious reciprocal relationship. If you think of a client, for example, you're going to have some clients who or customers, depending on whether you're self-employed or not, who are about, well, wait a minute, tell me exactly how much. Don't just tell me it's around 1,000. I want to know, is it $1,018? And you're like, wow, it's gonna get nitpicky. Okay, let me break it down for you. I just want to get it right. Or whatever they're like, yeah, don't tell me that. Just tell me that. I don't care about the fluff. Just send me, right? They just want to get something done, but they're being really aggressive and controlling, and we don't like that, right? Or maybe they're like, oh, I don't mind. Just email it when you have time. And you're like, well, when do you want it? When's your deadline? Oh, I don't mind, just whenever. And you're like, okay. Or maybe they want to get appreciated. Maybe they sent something to you and they're looking for a thank you or gratitude behind it, right? Whenever you have a conflict, here's the key to anything you're dealing with, any difficult conversation, is stopping and saying, what's really going on here? What is their intention? Okay, they're looking to do this. I'm going to give you an example of this. Scott, if you're watching, I apologize in advance. My boyfriend, Scott. Peeling an egg. I'm peeling an egg over the compost bin. And he goes, oh no, what you want to do is run it underwater and da-da-da. And I was like, oh yeah? I'm 46. I've been peeling eggs for a long time. So I'm peeling my egg and I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. Thank you for that. My back's up. Don't tell me how to peel an egg. Peeling eggs all my life. I love it. I'm an egg fiend. I love eggs. Chucky eggs, we call them in the UK. I love eggs. Well, if you're from the North, UK. Anyway, so he's trying to get it right. He's just trying to actually give me some resources to make it better. Now, little did I know, running it underwater is actually much easier. But that's a whole other workshop right there that I don't think is covered by Do It in Durham. But he's trying to get something right, and he's trying to get appreciated, right? He wants something to be perfect. He doesn't want, dug into egg. Has anyone ever done that? Peeled an egg and there's like half of it missing because you took it off? Come on, I'm not on my own here, right? And now he wants appreciation, but he's been controlling as anything. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to say thanks because I know how to peel an egg. You don't have to tell me. And it's just a mixture of intentions. I want to get it done. I just want to peel this egg and eat it. It's very, very simple. You don't have to give me a lesson behind it, but he wants to help me get it right. Not because he's a control freak, because he's a really loving person and wants to guide me with these extra resources. I'm just horribly independent and don't like to be told what to do, right? So now we've got this conflict, and now he's like, oh, I'm going to leave the kitchen, and a conflict scenario comes up, and I had to go, what's his intention? And as much as it hurt me, because I'm like, wow, control freak, when I said, okay, his intention is getting it right, I said, you know what, you could be right. Let me try and rinse it. And I'm like, oh, actually, just so you know, it comes off really easy if you rinse it under like lukewarm water. And I'm like, thank you for that. So I got it right, and he got appreciated, and I got it done. So I addressed my intention and he got his intention, right? Stepping back, what is their intention? Nicole just said, my pet pig is causing a real ruckus on pending chairs. He wanted to get it done. He needed to go out. You have a pet pig, Nicole? Wait a moment. There is a pet pig on the call as we speak. This is something I have never experienced in all my, I've been teaching for 20 something years, and I'm going to tell you how many other years. Nicole, we need to see a picture of this, quite frankly. I love that. I've never had a pet pig, right? Sue saying show the pig. We would like to see the pig, even if it's a photograph or come on video. I can't see everybody's video at once. If you do show the pig, somebody say that the pig's here. Okay. This is brilliant. This is brilliant. But it's coming to intentions. Now, you can do the same thing with your kids, where they do something and you can hungry, angry, lonely, tired, yes, but you can say, what are they trying to do? So for example, my younger son, he plays with Lego a lot, and he'll be like, oh, Mom, I really need this particular wheel. And I'll say, oh, just use this wheel because I want to get it done. I don't have a lot of patience for Lego. I'm really sorry for anyone that's a Lego lover. I don't. If you love Lego, feel free to come over because my kid loves Lego. Right, I'll sit with him so many minutes, but after a bit, I'm like, it's boring. I want to get it done. Whereas he's a perfectionist when it comes to Lego. So he's getting really mad at me that he can't find this particular wheel. But because I stepped back and I said he wants to get it right. So I said to him, you know what, Jack, what we're going to do, we're going to get you small drawers so we can put these really small things in. So if you need a wheel in the future, here's how we'll do it. And he said, okay, Mum. So he was able to get it right. I was able to get it done. No more conflict, right? Look at intentions. Think of it like indicating in a car. Isn't that beautiful when we know this? Now, if you take a look at this actual drawing on the screen, you'll notice that people who are above the normal zone are task focused. Okay, they're all about the tasks. Some people are task focused and some people are people focused. I'm going to hold my hands up. I'm a very task first focused person. I can come across as a little bit overbearing sometimes. I'm like, yeah, let's get it done. Come on, woo! And then other other people are like, wait a minute, I want to think about this. And I'm like, oh no, let's move it along, right? I'm a task-focused person. And other people are like, wait, I want to include Jenny because that'd be really nice. And and they're just very into harmony. And I'm like, we haven't time to bring Jenny in. I'm task-focused. The other person is, right? Who's in a relationship, friendship, clients, employee? Who's like, right now, you can think of somebody who's the opposite to you. Whether you're task focused or people focused, you can think of someone you're like, oh yeah, that's why we have conflict, because they're task focused and you're people focused. Give me a yes in the chat box if you're like, that makes sense. Yeah. At home, I'm very people focused. My partner is very task focused. Yeah, look, all these yeses coming through, right? When we know that there's a clash of intentions, what you can do is go, I'm well aware of that. I'm well aware that Scott likes to get things right. He has a pride in excellence. He's not a perfectionist. He's a pride. I'm sorry, Scott, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I'm giving away all our relationship secrets. I apologize in advance. That is my disclaimer. But he likes to get things right. He has a level of excellence. Whereas I'm like, let's just get it done and we'll fix it later. Okay, we'll format it. We'll make it look pretty. Let's just get it done over and done with, out of the way. And he's like, oh no, let's take our time. I know that he's like that, so I can appreciate that, because he's made me better by, I now strive for excellence. I'll now walk away from something, come back and go, how can I make that better? Rather than rushing to get something out of the door, I'll think, what would Scott do in this scenario, right? I'll make it better. He makes me better because I'm a combination of getting it done, but I bring a bit of Scott into my life, and he does the same way too. He does things faster as a result of being with me. This is a win-win situation, which we all want, right? Give me a yes in the chat box if you're like, I want everyone to feel happy. I want everyone's intention to be looked after. I want everyone to feel like there's a good result out of this. Give me a yes in the chat box if that's what you're looking for in any kind of conflict scenario. I'm not seeing any yeses. Does that mean that you're a no? Okay, there's a delay. Okay. Can you tell how task focused I am? Come on, let's get this over and done with. Get into the chat box, right? Now, if you want to figure out if people are task focused or not, you'll be able to see who they are outside of the normal zone, right? So when I'm in a task mode, I can be a bit controlling and a bit aggressive. If I'm in people mode, I'm a little bit more passive, right? Aggressive, passive, aggressive, passive. So if someone starts getting very aggressive, you can go, ooh, they're in task mode. Interesting. Okay, how can I help them get this task done or get it right? So let's say, for example, a client or a customer calls you and says, hey, Ahmed, can you give me the data from 2016 for the blah, blah, blah? And you go, yeah, how are you doing, John? Yeah, I'm great. Can you just give me the data? And you're like, wow, John's in a rude mood today. No, he's in getting it done. You go, okay, that didn't feel good. What's his intention? He's trying to get it done. Okay, John, I sense that you're trying to get this done pretty fast. Yeah, I am actually, Ahmed. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be rude. I need this information because it's going to be brilliant. It's going to help us do A, B, and C. And you go, great, great. I'm Ahmed. I'm all about giving value. Let me help you do that. Then let's have a coffee chat. I'd love to catch up with you. Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, no worries. Right? Instead of like, wow, John just called me and he was so rude, and John needs anything in the future, he can just wait for email, because I do not like people talking to me like this, right? We go through this ladder of inference. What's his intention? Can I help them have this intention? Right? Someone else give me another scenario. Give me another scenario here where people act in a way that's not their best version, but then you can think there's their intention. Give me another scenario. I'll give you another one while you're writing this in. How about the grocery store? Has anyone had their ankles bashed by a grocery cart? Now I'm just under 5 foot, so that happens quite frequently. And maybe not so much during COVID, but if you've ever had your ankles taken out by a grocery cart, you know that I'm in a great deal of pain, and I'm going right to my emotional ego self, like Sherry says, going to my childlike, and I'm like, wow, what was that? Not cool. But what I didn't see is that they've got a child in tow, and they're like, oh, I just need to get out of here. It's really stressful. And, one kid's running one direction, the other one's ready for a bottle, and it's just really stressful. And I go, okay, yeah, can I help you there? Yeah, no worries. Cut in line in front of me. Yeah. Somebody just said here, someone butts in line. Yeah. Maybe it's because they get anxiety in a grocery store. Maybe it's because if we think to ourselves, what are they trying to do? Now, if somebody's saying, if they're in the get along zone, they will be acting as if, oh, you know, would you mind if I just cut in front here? Like, oh, you know, they're almost like very shy and introvert. And you go, okay, you know, it's annoying me. I don't want them to go in front of me. I'm hungry. I want to make my dinner, but yeah, sure, come on in, right? When you know someone's intention, but if someone's like, oh yeah, so I need to be at the front of this line, you're like, oh, no, you're not. Right? No, sorry, I'm busy too, right? Now you're in the getting it done intention. Do you see how conflict just happens when intentions happen? People that leave the cart in the middle of the aisle. Oh, Nancy, don't ever go shopping with me. I'm terrible for doing that. I get excited. I see something and then I go, woo, and I'll go, you know, I'm in the cereal aisle. I'm looking at the new granola that's come in. I'll leave my cart and I'll walk over to the other granola and my cart's in the middle. I do it. Nancy, I'm sorry. How about, come on, I'm not the only person that's done it here, am I? We'll leave our carts. What's my intention? Got excited. I want to choose the right granola. I'm not thinking of other people. I'm task focused, right? Task focused. I'm just looking at getting something done. What could Nancy do? So if somebody's left their cart in the middle of the aisle, you recognize that they are studying the granola. This is me, right? Studying the granola. What can you do? Instead of having a conflict, what could you do? You know that I'm trying to get it right. I've got excited over granola. You can see that I'm doing a granola inspection. What could you do? Rather than getting mad and being like, wow, I hate that, you could say, excuse me. Yeah. What else could you do? Fellow human being, excited over granola. It's Ella, it's me. I'm a nice person. What are you doing? How about you bring the cart to me and go, oh, it was in the middle of the aisle, but I've moved it. Yes, Nancy. High five. Point out to me that I've left it in the middle of the aisle because I probably didn't notice. I just got excited about the granola. Yeah, you say beep, beep. Oh, I do that too. I love that. I love that. Just push the cart out of the way and smile. Yeah, and think, does it really matter? No, it's frustrating. Of course it is, because you're trying to get it done. Do you see? Getting it right, getting it done. We have all these reactions when we're not acting in our best self. I'm just doing a time check here. Okay, good. We've got 25 minutes. All right. So on that vein, let me show you a little bit deeper into this lens of understanding. You want to go really deep on this? Read the book. It's amazing. So as you see here in the four corners, you can see there's certain personality styles that come up when people are in conflict. So if someone's super controlling, it's because they want to get it done and they want it done now and their way. When someone becomes a perfectionist, Scott and the eggs, right? They're trying to get it right. If they're very approval seeking, this is a classic example. When I delivered this last in the workplace a couple of weeks ago now, a different conflict scenario. And I was talking about this book very briefly, and they were going out for lunch. We're going for a little bit of a team building lunch. There was only 5 of them, and no one could decide where to go. One person wanted to go for this style of food. Another person wanted to go for something a bit healthier, freshy, and no one could decide. And I said, why was that conflict? They're like, because no one would decide. But then when they got there, they were like, oh, it doesn't matter. I'll go anywhere. They were like, oh, I can't eat anything on here because I'm gluten-free. Who's ever had this and you've thought, oh, man, why didn't you just say anything? Not everybody's assertive, right? Some people just say yes to anything because they want people to feel good. They're harmonious. They are people orientated. Do you see where task, people? Yeah. Leah's saying, I noticed some people get mad when I tried to move their car and told them it's in the middle of with a smile during a pandemic. Yeah, it's hard because they can't see you smiling. It's true. It's true. It is really hard. I'm sorry. I'm one of those people. I try my best to understand that people want to get it done and they don't want to inspect granola like I do. I love granola, just so you know. Come on, where's my granola fans? Give me a yes in the chat box. I know I'm not alone with my granola love. Yeah. So we have these behaviors. So I'm not going to break you out just yet. I want to introduce you to some personalities. Now, according to this book, these are the top 10 personalities of people that have behaviors, that, oh, you bought some today, Sherry. I love it. I know a lot of people that make their own too. I need to get into that bandwagon. If you know someone like this, say yes in the chat box. Or if you recognize yourself sometimes, I want you to write it down, go, ooh, I can do this. And we go through them one by one. There is a tank. A tank is someone that comes and steamrolls. There's someone that comes in and goes, wait a minute here. I know what's going on. I'm going to take over. A tank. They're very, very aggressive. And you're like, whoa, wait a minute. I don't even explain anything. They're just very, very overwhelming. Does anyone know someone that's a tank? if you had a client, if you had an employee, if you had a manager like a tank. Then there's the sniper, people who will give little comments, and sometimes it's friendly and sometimes it's not, right? Well, I really like the way that you did that proposal. Shame you didn't attach the actual document, right? Very, very sarcastic, very, very dry. Who knows someone who's a sniper, who's experienced a sniper, and you're thinking, wow, that's just super frustrating. Yeah. Who's dealt with someone who's in a grenade? Now, Sherry was talking earlier on. Yes.
That sniper thing sounds so British to me.
The sarcasm, isn't it?
Yeah.
Andrea's probably like,
Yeah, having worked there a very long time.
Did you?
Well, yeah, I lived there all of my 20s, part of my 30s.
Really neat.
Yeah, and that sniper business. Whew.
Yeah, because there's a sarcasm, and some people use it, and thank you for saying that, because some people use that as a protection mechanism. If you watch Friends, for example, Chandler, he's the sniper. He does it for comfort. If things make him feel uncomfortable, it becomes very sniping. Yeah, that's really cool. Thank you for sharing that. The grenade, they're the person that reacts very dramatically, and you think, what just happened? It's like literally someone just, you're like, wow, that was taken massively out of context. That is not what I meant. Has anyone had that? And you're like, oh my goodness. I've got to tell you, when I get really emotional, I become a grenade. This is where I recognize myself, and I think, I have to step back. I have to take a breath. Yeah, we'll recognize someone who here so far. Let me put up your videos. Okay. Just making sure that's working. Beautiful. Then you have the know-it-alls. They're like, wait a minute, I've seen this before, and this is what we should do. Or, oh no, I already know how to do that. Just teach me how to do this. And you think, well, you don't actually know how to do it at all, right? Maybe people come into the BACD, oh, I've run businesses before. Well, that's great. How's that working out for you, right? They know it all. So why are you here then? What can I give you? And it's, again, it's a protection mechanism, right? It's that task. Only teach me what I need to know. The worst people are the ones that think they know it all. Has anyone experienced this? They think they know it all, and they're just trying to contribute to a conversation. They just want to be part of things. They want their thought process to be respected. The know-it-all and want to know more. They're a mixture between the 4 and 5. Yeah. Oh, that's your son. Oh, the know-it-all. Let me tell you, that's not just a 15-year-old thing. My 9-year-old too does that. Yeah. She's tried to tell me that she could dye her hair a certain way. And I said, no, you have to bleach your fur. She's like, you don't know everything. I'm like, wait a minute. What? Maybe I don't. But that's not the point. She's 9 years old. But it's interesting, isn't it? People who, they do have some data, but they don't have all the data. Oh, yeah. So those with kids right now are like, yep. Yeah, it's true. As they start to come away from you, Sherry Lee's like, yeah, come on, Sherry, you have something to share. Tell us.
I have a question about these 10 personalities, because I'm reading through them, and it's coming off with it's coming off with a slightly negative slant, because I don't know where I think I'm a know-it-all. It's just because I love learning, and I do know so much, and I can't remember any of it, of course, but I practice gratitude, right? So when I'm reading through this, I've just rewired my brain. Everything is just fun, good, a great day. Andrea knows me. Every day is a good day. Work hard, play hard, sleep when I'm dead, that kind of thing. It's just a mindset. So I wonder, for me, I really, really, really ever feel down or anything. And I'm also doing what I love to do, right? So I wonder where if this sounds to you in any way like some kind of a slight negative slanted, or just everybody always fall into that.
No, you're right. You bring up a really great point, Sherry. Thank you so much for saying that and sharing, because this is when, let me rewind a slide here. This is when we are in the gray zone. Okay, and I apologize if I wasn't clear with that. In the normal zone, you're your normal self. Sherry, there's going to be times when you're in the gray zone, and that's because your intention has been threatened. Okay, so let's say, for example, I want to get something done, and other people are like, oh, let's talk about it more. Let's have another meeting. And I'm like, oh no, we've got to get this done. I don't have time for this. And when I'm triggered and I start to get emotional about it, I'm going to default into one of these bad behaviors. This is when we act in a way that's not the best version of ourselves. Okay, so just to clarify, we have normal. I can be controlling in the real world too, but then if you really trigger me, I go into behavior. So if you see behaviors that you don't like, which is where conflict comes in, we need to know how to deal with these personalities. Does that help a little bit, Sherry?
Yeah, you absolutely clarify
okay,
that.
Good.
And
Thank you.
Now I could pick myself up when I'm going through halts or anything, right? Okay. Yes.
Now,
yes.
what you've demonstrated there, Sherry Lee, is you're getting the right person. It's not that you know it all. You want to get it right. Let me just clarify that my understanding is true. Am I applying this properly? Does it mean this? You're getting it right. There's one in every classroom. Then there's the people who are like, I don't want to say anything just in case I'm wrong. So I'm just
That's so funny
ahead.
that you said that, but yeah, you got me.
Right? In this whole classroom now, how many people are on the call right now? Okay, so there's 15. We are all one of these things. We're either like, no, I think this is rubbish. Or maybe we're like, I'm not saying anything because I don't look stupid. Or maybe you're like, well, it could be true, but I'm not convinced about this. Or you're like, yes, everything Ella says is brilliant and I love it. Or you're like, well, that's not what I read back in 1992. Or you're like, oh, I know this. Can I say something because I know it? Me. That's me too. Sherry Lee, this is why I'm a teacher. I get to share everything that I know. You might want to speak to Andrea about imparting your knowledge because you'll probably be really good at that. I'm also a grenade if I get very emotional. If I get really emotional, I don't think very clearly. If I get very passionate, like you said, Sherry Lee, especially when we're in an industry that we love, we get very passionate. And when we get really, really passionate, sometimes we're just not the best version of ourselves. And that's why I become a grenade. I'm like, no, I don't want that. Let's not do that. And then I'm like, whoa, I've just hit the grenade button. No. I've read this so many times. I'm like, ooh, grenade activated. Right? Maybe you feel uncomfortable, so you use sniping remarks, or maybe you just steamroll over people. You know what? I don't care what anyone says. We're doing it this way, and that's it, right? We all have these different personalities. So if I just go through the last couple here, you have the yes people, the people that just say yes, but they don't mean it, or they don't have capacity, and you think, oh, why did you take that on? That's so annoying. It's because they want to get along with people. They want to say yes, and they want things done. Yeah, I'll take that on, and they don't really do it, right? The yes person. It's because they're frustrated. They want to get things done. I'll just say yes. Or they want to get along. Oh, I don't want to disappoint Andrea. I really like her. So I'm just going, yes, I'll do that, Andrea. Yes, I'll commit to doing that. No way that's going in my calendar. No way right now, right? The yes person. This is when they get into an emotional zone, when we're not in our best version of ourselves. Then we have the maybe person. They just don't want to make a decision because they don't want to upset anybody, which is one of the personalities that I struggle with the most. I struggle with very indecisive people. So for me, when I'm talking to my clients, I'll give them 2 or 3 options. I can't give them 100. Well, let me give you the list of all my micro learning experiences. Oh no. Here's what I'm hearing. It sounds like you're talking about communication in your business. Let me send you my top 3 communication programs, right? Because I don't want people to go, well, I've narrowed it down to 85 programs. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have time for this. I want to get it done, right? I've got another client in 5 minutes. Let's go. I need to be aware that's my intention. So I need to act accordingly and know which personality drives me bonkers, and I have to resolve it. I can only change me. I can't change you. I can't change my clients. I can't change my employees. I can't change my managers. I can to a certain degree. I can't change their behavior. I can't change their personality. I can change my reaction and what I do to it. Then you have the nothing person who just doesn't want to upset anyone, or they're just like, oh yeah, dig your own grave. Yeah, can be very frustrating. The no person, no matter what you say, they're like, no, we've tried that before. We're not doing it now. And you're like, well, but this could be a really good idea. A great example of that is Uber and Airbnb. All the banks, all the people that sat around the table went, no way, that never worked. You own hotels without being a hotel, and you give up your home and you just get people to payment. Never work. No way in a million years. Uber, there's taxi companies all over the world. There's no way in a million years it'll work. Yet here they are making billions of dollars, right? This is where innovation comes from. Oh, I'm sure Andrea could talk all day about innovation, right? As a business owner, all of us right now, if you're an entrepreneur right now watching this, you're innovative. You didn't say no, you said, yes, I'm going to look at a capability. And maybe someone out there, tell me in the chat box, did anybody say to you, oh, that's not a good idea? Or, oh, but see, that's a bit financially volatile. Oh, are you sure? Oh, yeah. Nicole just asked a question. Is it harder to deal with the personalities that are like yours? For example, being a grenade, do you find it hard to deal with other grenades? Yes. In answer to your question, yes. I have a daughter who's also a grenade. But because I'm a grenade too, I know where she's coming from. I know her intention. I'll go, okay, she's feeling really emotional. We need to diffuse the emotions before we can get to the solution. If, for example, so I have a couple of team members who work for me. If they get really emotional about something and they're getting fired up and passionate, and I think, okay, what's their intention? They're trying to get it right. I'm bottlenecking them. I'll go, okay, I'm feeling like we're feeling some emotions. Should we step back from this and go and get a cup of tea, some fresh air, and come back in 20 minutes? 9 times out of 10, people come back and go, oh, sorry about that. I just felt, really annoyed that we're not able to do this. And I go, it's okay. The no support is hard on your emotions. Yeah, it's hard. And emotions are something that fuels us. It's a beautiful space to be. I'm just doing a time check. It's a beautiful space to be, right? We want to fuel it. Like Sherry Lee says, when we're passionate about something, we want it to be fueled and be like, I'm so excited. I'm doing this. I get to teach people for a living. Like, this is so cool. Or the people might be going, Ella, get on with it. This has nothing to do with conflict, right? If I'm not helping, can you tell it's getting darker? Because my face is like, you can't even see me now. I'm just going to do it. Is that better? I just looked at myself and went, I look like a ghost. What's happening here? It's getting darker outside. I apologize if I just look like this white blob on the screen. I'm sorry. I want to go back to what you said there. The no support is hard on your emotions for you trying to get your job done. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And as you know, especially in motherhood, I could have many comments. I'm more than happy to talk to you offline about that. You're right. So when we go into this gray zone, let me go back here. We go into this gray zone is when we have behaviors that aren't the best version of ourselves. It's when we become a grenade. Maybe you recognize, come on, who wants to admit it? Put it in the chat box here. Who said, oh yeah, I see myself. When I get really emotional about something, when my intention's threatened, I become like this. Who wants to admit it? I admitted I'm a grenade. I can be a grenade and a know-it-all sometimes. Yeah, let me put the behaviors here on the screen. Which one of these are you? Yeah, I'm more than happy to do that. Yeah. Which one of these are you like, yeah, I do that sometimes. I don't make decisions. Come on, who's going to admit it? 17 of us online. It depends. See, none of us want to get in trouble and look like we're bad. We're not bad people. It just means our intention's been threatened. Yeah. Andrew, you're a sniper and a grenade. Andrew, do we think that's a British thing? Is sniper being British? Was Sherry Lee correct? Sarcasm's a big part of my personality. I'll admit that. Reese, you become a yes person. Yeah. I just want to thank you for your courage and vulnerability sharing here, because it's hard to admit that I might have a version of me that's not so great, but no, it's because this emotion's gone into your brain and numbed the really good part of your brain that makes good decisions. It just goes whoop, numbs it, and you're like, what? Right? I'm not the only grenade. All right. Just so you know,
I was going to say, when you said, is it a British thing? I think it's very much, I know that in where I'm from in England, we always say a spade is a spade. Like, we're very honest about our opinions, but it can kind of come out as being very vicious sometimes.
It can, especially if you're not used to that.
Yeah. Kind of, and that I'll often say to people when I'm dealing with clients, like, I want to be honest with you, but you can disagree with me. That's how I deal with it.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's that part of that ladder where it was a cultural thing. It's the way that
Isn't that interesting?
So it's a cultural background.
Yeah.
And so very much, I think it's definitely ingrained in me because of I don't know about British, but certainly Northern.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, me and Andrea are from a very, very close place in the UK. Sherry Lee, if you went to the north of England, you're probably like, yep. It's interesting, isn't it?
I know Sherry Lee is a perfectionist, and I keep saying to her, it's not perfection, it's progress. So
interesting.
Yeah, so that's my thing.
Yeah. I think I'm originally from Caribbean, so, and there's a culture of sarcasm as well. So I can pick it out very easily, and I find it quite difficult to deal with now as I'm older.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, we joke a lot, but Ella, I did want to ask, because I'm sort of struggling with these personalities a little bit. I can understand where you are, and I could see that I can be a nothing person when I'm in a group thing. If I know inside of me something doesn't make sense, I just don't even bother anymore. I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go do it myself, and it's gonna be right and perfect. Andrea would know what I was, and which is what I do, right? I do my own thing, and it works because I just go in there and do it the way I want it. But
But do you also burn out in the scenario? Do you also overload yourself? Are you also taking away from times with your clients who would just love you to be there, showing them awesome things, right? There's a great phrase, Andrea, I'm sure you use this very, very frequently, and anyone else that said anything to do with the BACD, and it's do what you do best and hire for the rest. And whether that's paying someone or asking for advice or attending a workshop or calling Andrea, hey, can I make a mentorship appointment because I know I shouldn't be doing more on my social media, but it takes up 50% of my week. Help me. It's not the best places. It's aces in places. We want to talk about where's my card players here, right? Aces in places. Where's the best place for you to be at the time? And if you need someone to help you, it's that looking at what's their intention. So if we take it from a family perspective, we've all had a bit of conflict with family. If we can just take a step back and go, what's their intention? So let's say Sherry Lee thinks that people are doing things wrong and you're like, I'm just going to do it myself because it's easier and I can do it really, really fast. If their intention is getting it right, we're doing them a disservice. That's so, for example, if my kid's trying to do something, they're trying to peel an egg and half of it's in the bin and I'm like, oh, just give it to me, do them a disservice, right? Oh, come on, I've been there. Who's done that? If you have kids, you know what I'm talking about, right? Oh, Catherine just mentioned it here on the screen. I'm a tank and I know it with my kids. Now, there's a tank because you've got emotional. And if we take the step back before we hit the emotions and say, what is their intention? So if a client's been annoying, if they're just saying yes, and you're thinking, I don't think they're a yes here, do I need to ask different questions? I need to pull them out of the gray zone, bring them back to normal zone, ask good questions, right? Are you hungry? I am. Okay, that explains why, you know, you are reacting the way that you are. Let's go and have something to eat. Let's park this. Let's speak later, right? Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. It's the same way as this 10 personalities. Just for essence of time, I'm really sorry, but 23 minutes past. Having some great discussions. I appreciate you guys. I want to give you high level. If you can write fast, write fast. And if not, watch the recording of this. If you find, in fact, I've written lots of notes. I'm just going to read from my notes. Let's just do it. Let's just get it done. You see the getting done in me? Orientated notes here, people. I'm just going to read them out. The tank. What you need to do is diffuse their behavior and address their behavior. So you might find, Carolyn, no worries, Ahmed. I'm so glad you could join us. Please, I'm going to be reaching out to you afterwards with some of these resources as well. Ahmed, thank you so much for joining us. You need to diffuse the behavior and address their behavior, of which your kids will at some point, and my kids will come to me, and your employees will come to you, and your friends will come to you and be like, oh, you know, I kind of steamrolled that person or that idea. They'll come to you, but you need to explain to them, okay, I understand that this is what we want to do. I cannot react particularly well when someone's coming at me like this. Let's both write down our ideas and come back together and talk, right? We want to, I've written down here, you need to hold your ground, calmly interrupt the attack. You're being attacked. You need to interrupt the attack. One great way of interrupting someone is by using their name. Andrea, 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 Andrea. And eventually they'll go, I like the sound of my own name, and they'll stop talking. It's a great way of interrupting. Andrea, and just keep saying their name. I'm sorry to put you on the Andrea. Your name's there on the screen. I don't mean that you're not confrontational at all. The sniper. You need to diffuse their behavior. Appear unaffected. What you tolerate will continue. Right, what you react to will continue. If they think, oh, it's okay to snipe at people, they're going to keep sniping at you. Okay, don't react. Ask good questions. So remain calm and listen. You're just going to ask good questions. Dig deeper. Okay, I'm seeing that you're feeling a bit uncomfortable with that, Ella, by being, you know, a bit sarcastic with me and making a joke. Is there something I can help you with that's going to help you make a better decision? Yeah, sorry, I just feel really uncomfortable talking about my emotions. Okay, cool. I understand that. Let's talk about it. The grenade. All right, have you ever seen me? Andrea, if you and I get together for lunch and I start being a grenade, here's what to do. Are you ready, Andrea? You need to diffuse me with an action plan. It's because I feel out of control that I become a grenade. It's as simple as that. You need to get my attention. Ella, 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 be firm and friendly. You can do this with your kids, by the way. If kids are playing up, if your employees are playing up, if there's some kind of conflict, you're in a virtual meeting and people are arguing, okay, guys, okay. I want to take a deep breath. Right? Dig deep. What's going on here? Why are people feeling this way? Right? Suggest another time. I think we need to come back to the table. We're not emotional. Ask good questions. The know-it-all. Show that you understand. Clarify. You probably saw me do it with Sherry Lee. Okay, so just clarify that you're looking for this. Okay, good. Right? I want to make sure that any questions that are coming from anyone that is displaying this behavior is getting addressed. Is their attention being addressed? Present your views indirectly and acknowledge their expertise, because if they're a know-it-all, it means they know some stuff, right? The think they know it all is a bit different. Again, I don't usually read from here, but I want to, for essence of time, I don't want to miss anything. You want to find something to give them recognition for. It might be totally wrong what they've said, right? They just want to join in. They want to be appreciated. They want to feel included. They're missing out and they're like, I've got nothing to say here. Oh, well, I'll just make something up, okay? I really appreciate you bringing something to the conversation, Ella. That's great. Anyway, just as Andrea said, right? Appreciate that they're in the conversation. Use I statements so they don't think this is a we belonging situation. Give them a way out, yeah? What do you think, Jenny? Yeah, let them start talking to you about things. The yes person, make it safe for them to disagree. If someone's been a yes person a lot and you're thinking, why are they doing this? Just make it safe, because they might think, well, I just didn't want to disappoint you. You know, I really care about you as a client. No, I'd rather you did. I'm going to make it safe for you to say no to me. It's okay. I want to make sure that you give me the best work, the best value, the best service, the best product, right? The maybe person, you need to encourage them to make a decision and commit to it. Establish trust. Okay, again, maintain that comfort zone. Use a decision-making system. So again, I do this with my kids. If I said, what do you want to have for dinner? I'm going to get 500 different things said at me. Would you like zucchini pasta and meatballs, or would you like cheese pizza? Yes or no? Okay, the maybe person is going to go, well, they're just going to go, okay, yes, A. Put them in a situation where they can make a decision. You know this because you've looked at their intention. The nothing person, encourage them to say something. Okay, I'm sensing that you're not contributing to the conversation right now. Should we have an offline conversation? Or is there another question that you might have that can help you make a decision right now, Ella? Well, yeah, actually, I'm not convinced about this project. Okay, well, it looks like you don't have the information that you need. You're appreciating them. Let's have an offline conversation. I'm more than happy to give you the value and the information that you need to make a great decision. And then here's one of the worst one. This is not my favorite. The whiner. Oh, the whiner. Oh, the whiner's so bad. Wow. They're whining all the time. They are the people that are fearful of making a decision because they think there's going to be a bad thing at the end of it. With a whiner, very, very simply, you need to find out what it is that they feel that's going to happen to them, that they're catastrophizing about, and you put their mind at rest. This all goes back, ladies and gentlemen, to this. What is their intention? When you know someone's intention, a little bit like driving a car, you are able to help them. You can even say, what's your intention right now? Okay, I can see we're having a bit of conflict. What is it that you're hoping to do? Are you looking to have the right information? Are you looking to get this done? Are you in a hurry? Are you wanting to just have a good time while you're here? What is it? Well, actually, I'm looking for this. Okay, let me give it to you. Ask them the question, what is your intention? Or here's a story I'm telling myself. I feel like we're rushing this call. I don't feel like I can give you the value that you need. You're right, I am in a rush. Can we reschedule this to Wednesday? Yes, I'd love to do that. I want to give you my best product, my best service, my best value, my best knowledge situation, right? When you know someone's level of intention, and you recognize that these behaviors are around these intentions, you can do beautiful things. What I'm going to do for you, and I'm sorry because I'm about to go over, we are 1 minute away. Andrea, I'm going to talk fast. Okay, I'm going to send you all an email. I'm going to send you the email, the link to the book. I'm going to send you the behaviors so you can look more into it. Sherry Lee, I can tell you're excited about these behaviors and you want to go deeper. I'm going to send that to you. I'm going to send you, there's some other things. I'm going to send you some stuff about Brené Brown. I'm going to send you the Netflix link. I'm going to send you some stuff about DISC as well, because we talked about that. Like I am like on time. Oh, I'm still 4:29. Woo! Look at that. Right, getting it done. I wait to get it right too, which is why I'm sending you stuff afterwards, because I know some of you are like, I need more information. I can send it to you. So please, before we leave here, I'm going to send you a link with some feedback. I really want you to give me some feedback. Did you understand this? Do you need more information? Can I send you more things? Tell me in the chat box before you leave for today, because it's 4:30. I know you've had a long day. Tell me. Oh, thank you. Tell me in the chat box, what was the biggest, oh, that was interesting, or aha moment, or wow, I had no idea, or I'd not looked at it from that perspective. Was it being in the breakout rooms? What was it? Tell me in the chat box before you leave. Everyone's intention isn't bad. Yeah, Nicole, everyone comes from a place of a good intention. We just have to figure out what it is. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's very powerful for me when I read that book too. Yeah. Anyone else like to share? Sherry Lee, Andrea, Nicole, Catherine, Nancy, tell me. Sherry Lee says the personalities and how assumptions shape the relationship. Oh my goodness. I'm going to get a bit crass now. Assume makes an ass out of you and me. It's an awful place, but we do it. We do it to protect ourselves, and it's this ladder of inference, isn't it? Catherine says, figuring out people's intention. Yeah, ladder of inference. Isn't it cool? And you're going to be like, ooh, I do that, and I get there really quickly. You're going to start catching yourself, and you're going to be thinking, oh, and you're going to remember this session and be like, whoa, BACD is super cool, and I must attend more sessions because I've learned such a lot. Yeah. Don't assume and look more at where people's intentions are. Great. Yes. Thank you. Great learning. Sherry Lee, lens of understanding. Isn't it beautiful? Reese is a root cause and a gray zone. Yeah, we have this happy zone. I can be controlling, but I'm okay about it. And then we have the right zone. Yeah. Diffusing the situation. You can always do it. When you know someone's intention, you can absolutely diffuse it. Yeah, beautiful. Oh, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, feel free to stay on. It is 4:30. It's 4:31. I've gone 1 minute over. I apologize. We've gone 1 minute over. If you want to stay and have questions, you can stay here. I'm going to stop recording in a second. If you want to ask me a question, I'm going to go right to the end here. You can email me, ella@ellabates.com. You can find me at ellabates.com too. You can reach out to me through the BACD. Hey, Andrea, I didn't catch that woman's name. Who is she? Where do I find her? Email me. I'd love to open up a conversation. Those people who said I have a side conversation with, I've just stuck my, sorry, my headphones were attached to my chair there. Yeah, more than happy to have an extra conversation, send you more resources, and wait to be successful in conflict. So I want to say thank you so much for your interaction today, your engagement. I've learned from you guys. I didn't get to see the pig. I'm a bit disappointed about that. If you have a pet pig, please send me a picture of them, ella@ellabates.com. I look forward to that. If you have to dive off, thank you so much. Oh, there's the pig. Oh, love it. Nicole, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love that so much. Oh, everybody needs a pet pig. How cute is that? Thank you so much for sharing. But if you haven't already, there's many, many more brilliant workshops just like this that's happening this week. Andrea, I'll pass it over to you. I'm sure you can say a lot more about that, and then I'll stay on for any questions for a few minutes.
Yes, thank you, Ella. Great session. Absolutely fantastic. Very reflective, makes you think about your own personality, your kids' personalities, everybody around you, everybody you work with. Fantastic. Loved it. So, and I'm just going to stop the recording. I probably have to do a new intro. So thank you for keeping within time, even though we had a shaky start. I apologize to everybody here for that, that start today. Does it stop recording? Have you clicked the button?
Thank you for being a guest in this presentation. If you would like to book an appointment with us here at the Business Advisory Center Durham, just follow the information right on the closing slide, and we look forward to seeing you.